Well, Fatima found out just who wasn't a true friend after all. And we are discovering that Zach isn't the only one with skeletons resurfacing from the past to haunt him. Our girl Fatima got one handsome chocolate one that resurfaced herself. Let's get into it. Greetings, welcome back to my channel. Now, where we left off last week, Zach was running up to the bedroom, right? Running from Fatima's crazy friend Belinda, and Fatima was up there waiting. Now, when they run in, do you believe that this chick had the audacity of like, hey, girl? I mean, this is the moment when Fatima realized, how much she lied, that everything was cool, that she was over Zach, and realized what they were saying in the beauty salon was the truth. Zach freaked out because he knew at that moment somebody was going to die, and it wasn't going to be him, and he better get this crazy nut up out of here. And the best excuse she can give was that I was testing him because this nigga ain't shit. He ain't no good. And she looking at her like, really? Fatima realized now, regardless of how long she knew her, how long, her and Belinda were friends, when it comes to a man, that friendship will be over. And, the audacity to come up in my house in my face and lie. And Fatima heard everything from the room. So she was just 2 inches away from like totally blowing her to oblivion. But at the end of the day, she still cared about this girl. And she's still arguing with Zach, who's trying to save her in front of her girl, knowing you got busted. There's no way out of this, but you still heated with Zach, still pissed off at the fact that he don't want you. He wants your friend, so called. I can't even use that word. So what do she do in a Medea fashion? She pulls out that gun, and then Belinda going, "Well, how could you do this to me after we've been friends for all these years? Are you serious? After all of these years you've been friends, how could you do what you're doing to me and my man after all these years we friends?" The hypocrisy in that statement. But Zach, he sat up there and gave her a chance to get up out of there, and, wanted the gun out of her hand before this gets worse. Because, of course, he loves her. He doesn't want her to go to jail because Belinda's surely not worth it. So he's freaking out. He's scared. He got her down on the bed, took the gun from her, and tried to get her to calm down. And Fatima is crumbling. Now, in comes Angela ringing the bell. Of course, she wants to see her friend. And, of course, Belinda's going to lie to her. She's going to get the most naive one in the bunch and blame it all on Zach. So Zach is like, I got her calmed down. I got her, put to bed. She's resting. This took a toll on her. You got to go. And the disrespect, just like Belinda, they all about their friends. And I get it. I get it. But at the same time, this is this man's house. Show a little respect. She don't want to hear nothing he got to say. Of course, she thinks he's guilty anyway. Only thing she wants to hear from is her friend. I can get it. Angela, I see her as a good friend, but she tries to be a friend to both, regardless to the truth of Belinda, who's not a friend probably to either one of you. Because if she wanted your man, you better watch Bryce, because she might be after him next. So he's basically saying, you got to go. You can't stay here. But Fatima calls her and says, Zach, let her up. That's her girl. She don't want to turn her away. And Zach is like, teed off, okay, you don't want to respect my wishes, fine. You want her there, but the doorbell rings again, and now it's Bryce. So Bryce, he's like, come on in. You might as well. Your girl's upstairs. So he was like, you want a beer? Because I guess we're going to have to talk. So he was like, sure, we're going to get a beer. So now Fatima is basically pouring her heart out to Angela. Angela's telling her, Belinda told me that he came on to her. And she was like, you believe her, right? You believe her. He was like, no, that's a lie. I heard everything. She was like, well, she's pretty convincing. I'm like, come on. She heard it. You going to believe Belinda or you going to believe Fatima? She told her I was up here and that she heard everything. And of course, she like wondering how the heck you even get up here before them when you was at the salon. She was like, that's why I left, because I know her. That's why I left. Don't worry about how I got up here, but I did. And because she timed it, and she let her know, you a little too nice, really a little too naive to be believing everything she says. She timed me, and she knew exactly when I wasn't going to be home, how long it was going to take me to get my hair done. And that's why she peeled up out of here to think she can get my man. And she's like, wow, so Angela's finally, it's sinking in that this girl really did something shicey like that to you. But she was like, I don't believe it. We've been friends so long. And she was like, it was very, very painful, because when you have a friend that you've been tight with, and this is what we all got to realize in life. I've been through this too. The dynamics of friendships tend to change when you're tested. And here she was tested by a man that her friend once wanted. But it can be anything that may change the dynamics. I've seen, friends change on you once you start a business, and, you have this new venture going, and they're not so supportive. They're there through the bad times and the dark times, but they're not there when things are going good. And that's when that envy and jealousy, or just a change in the dynamics of your relationship, that's very disheartening, and you may lose friends. And this was that pinnacle time for Fatima. So the gentlemen are out here talking, and, Bryce letting them know, he knows about Fatima, how she doing, and the situation with that gun. And Bryce is basically trying to say that that's dangerous, and he needs to beware of Fatima and how she pulls out a gun. So Zach said, I get it. Yeah, she keeps a gun. It's for protection. I used to be that way, so I understand. But he's still saying that's not a good thing, because with Fatima's temper, which I'm sure Angela went and did that pillow talk and told him a lot about her friends, she knows she can go off the deep end. And he's like, yeah, you right. But right now, you seem to be a little judgy. Are you judging me and my woman in this situation? And, Bryce really don't want to come off that way, but he just wants him to be careful on that situation. But he like, hey, at the end of the day, you better watch out, because now you involved with a black woman. And the dynamics of being in a relationship with a sister compared to maybe Asian women or white women may be different. I mean, a lot of trauma we have been through as black women. And that trauma sometimes, it goes throughout our lives. It goes throughout relationships. And he has to learn to come to an understanding on some of the things you may have to deal with when it comes to black women. And I'm not saying this in a stereotypical way, but when you want to have an interracial relationship, you have to have compassion and understanding, and learn how certain things affect us, and how certain traumas in our life and experiences affect us a little different because of our history. So, Zach tried to little peep him on that, since you want to deal with the sisters. So Bryce was like, all right. So then Angela comes down, and she apologizes to Zach for, reading it wrong. She said, I really got this, wrong, after she had her talk with Fatima, and she shed light on it. So she wanted to apologize, and they left. So he accepted her apology, and that was that. But this was a very touching moment here, because you have a very deflated Fatima. We always know her as strong, fierce, ride or die, always on point. But here you can see she's absolutely falling apart. And Zach is here, saying, it's me, babe. Now I'm here for you. Everyone's gone. What can I do? And to see her break down like that, this is a side that Zach has never seen. And it really upset him, because to see, the woman that he loved in this kind of pain, knowing he's the cause of it. And she said, it's not your fault. But he said, yes, it is. Because if I never slept with her, you would never be in this pain. And it just goes to show the consequences of your actions when we're young and, wild, or just, just not thinking. We just living our lives. And then when we're ready to settle down and do right with the one we love, all the things that we did wrong and the mistakes that we've made in the past may come back. And we're faced to have them challenge what we're trying to build when we're doing better in our lives, when we're trying to grow and evolve. And he basically, saying that we both have to do better. Babe, you can't be, pulling out guns all the time. And she says she's going to really try. And I hope she does, because, it's a lot of pain that she's dealing with, a lot of hurt from her ex, which we'll find out later on that she runs into. It's a lot of things that Fatima has to face in her life. And a friend's betrayal is one of the worst, that, most disheartening you can have when you lose a close friend like that over someone that you love. So they said at the end of the day, Zach said they both have to do better. And he does too, definitely. Now, next morning, he's trying to make his baby some breakfast, which was sweet. But she's getting ready to go for a jog. And she really doesn't have time to eat because she wants to get this run off, I guess, to de-stress and clear her mind before she goes into work. So Zach's like, okay. And she's mentioning how she really needs to go away and have a nice vacation. I guess, de-stress from everything's going on. And he said, well, I could take you to Florida. And she's like, Florida? What? Like, no, I'm thinking of some nice island, maybe the French Riviera, Bahamas, something like that. He's looking like, what? No, I can't. And then he's like, why not? And he said, well, you must not, it's not no. And he was like, what is it? And he was like, I don't have a passport. Because of my record, I can't get a passport. So she's like, oh, well, I guess I see you when I get back. He was not liking that one. Like, haha, funny. No way. But, the wheels are turning with Fatima, and she's probably going to try to pull some strings and see what she can do to get her man that passport, because she definitely don't want that to slow them down. But here is yet another obstacle because of Zach's past that's now getting in Fatima's way. So she, gave him, his little, messing with him while he's trying to get the food together, saying she got to get ready for her run. And he said, well, I'm going to join you. She was like, you better come on and catch up. And as we see there on the road, Zach with his back, just like when he was running with Bryce, he cannot catch up. Our sister used to run track, come to find out, back in college. So he was like, yeah, that was 30 years ago. She was like, whatever. But he up here with his back, his baby, can't keep up with the jog. And he's trying to make it. So she's telling him that she wants to get this jog, done before she gets to the office. So she is going to bid our brother adieu until they meet later on. So she's about to jog off, and he's trying to catch his breath. And, some little sexy thing runs by, and he trying to get that little peep. She busting him and like, yeah, She's jogging back like, I got my eye on you. You ain't slick. He was like, okay. Bye, babe. I'll see you later. And so, as she's jogging, guess who comes and pops up from her past? Her ex, Ian. Yes, the one who she was with prior to Zach, a long-term relationship. He went off and married another woman, didn't even tell her, like a few days after, whatever, like a real foul way. And, she's telling him, I don't have time to talk to you and get out my face. He's like, I want to have dinner. We need to talk. I got something to talk to you about. She was like, no, get out my face. He was like, I still love you. She don't want to hear none of that. You hurt me. You broke my heart. You left me. We were everything, soulmates, and you sat up there and went and married someone else. I don't know what happened. I like to hear his story as to why that happened, but she didn't want to hear it. So Zach, after he got off the phone with Bryce, I believe it was Bryce he was talking to, he jogged up and was like, babe, who is this? So she's like, this is, my man, this is my ex. Remember the one who I told you about, who left me with another woman a few weeks after he went and married somebody else after we broke up? And he was like, yeah, that's him. And he got the nerve to want to take me out to dinner. He just asked me, to go talk to dinner. He was like, nah, that's not happening. And she told him before, my man's not gonna like that. And he was like, no, ain't happening, bro. Well, it's good y'all broke up because, your loss is my gain. And she was like, yeah, okay, bye, bitch. Like that. And so Zach was like, yeah, bro, that's mine. Just so you know, that's mine. So we know what's about to happen. And that dinner that she said she wasn't going to have with him, or that meetup later, looks like it's about to happen. So Zach had to put in his little last words to him to let you know, bruh, that's mine. So now Zach comes back to this office to meet with Bryce, because Bryce told him on the phone when he was out for the run that he saw a property. So he told him to come by and see it. So Zach is checking it out, and he was like, okay, you got a place? He said, yes. He said, well, how much is this? And he told him $3,600. Well, prior to that, he was telling him it was a situation that he felt a little funny about Fatima running into her ex. So he was like, wow. He was like, yeah, but you know how when I know I'm putting it down, the ego of a man, I'm not really worried about him. But he said, when you look at somebody and even though they say they good, they not good. And she knows that this man is still on her mind. So he's worrying a little bit now that, this affected her running into her ex. He already know the story. She shared it with him. So, it may be something to consider. So he was like, well, you need to talk to her about it. And she said, I will. So he started telling him about the place. Do you like it and how much it costs? Now, for Zach, that's pretty steep, $3,600. He's not, even though he has some money, he's not trying to go crazy. And he's like, you saying $3,600 like it's nothing. But I'm not trying to spend all that. I don't have it like that. I'm not trying to go over my head when I'm just starting out in business. So Bryce is basically showing him like, this can be his office. This can be where the secretary's at, or your assistant. And, the other office can be his. And he's like, wait a minute, the other office? He said, yes, we can partner up and do this together, $1,800 each. He was like, oh, so they hugged it out. He was excited. He's like, wow, now that I can get with. He was like, I'm excited. Thank you so much. You serious? This is ours? He was like, yeah. So he said, you going to leave Gary? He was like, no, he's going to do this gig with him part-time. He still got his full-time thing, but we'll be able to work this out together. So he said, well, what do you think you're going to call it? So Zach said, Rise. He said, I know what it's like to be at the bottom. Now he's coming up, so he wants to call it Rise Ventures. So, Bryce said, I like that. And I like that name too. It speaks on where Zach's been and where he's going. So I think it's perfect name for him. So yeah, they were happy. So now Fatima's off to work. Angela is there. Obviously, they work in the same building. So Fatima called her up and they went in the bathroom to talk. Now, Fatima is losing it. She didn't realize she would be this affected by the situation. And Zach saw that. And she really is. She checked the stalls to make sure nobody was in there because she don't want nobody to hear this. But she tells Angela that she ran into Ian. And she's like, what? She said, yeah. And she's really shook. She was like, this man, I felt him on every, all throughout my body, on every level. That's that soul ties. When you with someone for so long and that's your soulmate, so you thought, and y'all bonded so well and he hurt you so deeply and just left, that's not something easy to just get rid of when you so connected to a man like that. Not saying she doesn't love Zach or care for him deeply, but when you go back to think about something that you had developed so strong with someone, that's not easy to get out of your system. So this is a big trial for Fatima right now, and she realized it's something she's going to have to deal with, and it's really bothering her. In the meantime, you got here, misery loves company. Nate here trying to, calling Zach to go to some party. One of Zach's friends having a party. So him and Tony want to get with him to take him out. And Zach, he really not with it. Who knows? In the future, Zach may have to cut these ties with, one or more of his boys. Because if they going to lead him to that path of where he's gotten in a lot of trouble in the past, he may have to change up his friends. Because they gonna have him sinking into a hole he don't want to get into, and I don't think he wants to do that with something that he's newly developing. Get a good foundation before you go left. Fatima's dealing with a lot of mess between Karen, this other stripper baby mama, this mess he was going through with the SEC and all this. Now Ian resurfacing. It's just a lot in their new relationship for your boys to be dragging you into the lion's den. But they ain't trying to hear it. They said, yo, you coming. We going out. Now, last but not least, the episode winds out with Fatima getting a call that she has a guest And she finds out that it's who else? Ian. He showed up on her job, very determined to talk to her. And this is something she was just talking to Angela about. So here goes the whirlwind. So he comes up with the news that I really need to talk to you. If we could meet later, I would really appreciate it. And he really hit her with the wham bam. And that was basically that he is sick. He wants to make amends with everybody that he's hurt. And she was one of the main ones that he hurt. And he want to make peace with that because he has cancer and he may not have that long to live. I don't want to think that the brother's making this up just to get her back. He really looks sincere. But I think this is closure that Fatima needs, a door she needs to close and lock and get peace, because evidently he took off, married this other woman, and basically left Fatima wondering what the heck happened. So I think she needs to hear from him. I think he needs to get this off his spirit and really be able to make amends on that so she can move on with a clear conscience and work to get Ian out of her system if she's going to move on with Zach. So that really left her distraught. The once love of her life, dying, that has to be leave you very much in turmoil. And that's what it was. She came back to her office. She put her head down. Fatima is really struggling with this. This is a lot. Bad enough she dealt with Belinda, Zach's baggage from the past, and now the hurt from her ex. So we're going to see next episode, the meetup with Ian, see how that goes, see how Zach goes with him and his friends going out, because I know that's just a disaster waiting to happen. And some problems will probably arise from that little party night out with his boys. So stay tuned for episode 5, and we will dive in for more of Zatima. Thanks for joining my channel. Click subscribe, like, share, and I'll see you soon. Peace.